Hello everyone. Today we're going to do a short lesson on proofreading and proofreaders marks. So first thing I want to do is turn to page 164 in the textbook and just kind of go over a few things about proofreading, which I believe is a lost art form. So let's look halfway down the page where it says post writing stage, and I'm just going to read along and you guys can follow along with me. And then when we get to the proofreading marks part, that will kind of lead into your assignment for today. So it says post-writing stage. Your written work will often be judged by its correctness and appearance. Errors distract from the message and suggest you were careless in preparing the communication. For this reason, proofreading is an important last step in the post-writing stage. Proofreading is the process of checking the final copy for the correct spelling, punctuation, and formatting for typographical errors. The first step in proofreading is to use your software's grammar and spelling checker. Far too often, students will only use that as a means of checking for grammatical and spelling errors. However, this does not relieve you of the task of proofreading. Depending on the software, it may not pick up the errors that occur when you key the wrong word, but spell it correctly. For example, when you is keyed instead of your, or is instead of as, the software may not catch these errors because the incorrect words are spelled correctly. Use the following guidelines for proofreading. Not every point will need to be used on every writing task. Your judgment will indicate how much attention is needed. Point 1. Proofread for content by slowly reading the copy, concentrating on the accuracy of the message. Point 2. First use the grammar or spelling checker, then proofread on the computer screen. Third point. Print a copy and proofread it again. Mark errors on the printout. Point 4. Read the copy aloud. And the last point. Enlist a coworker to be a proofreading partner. Read aloud from the printed copy while your partner checks against the final document on screen. It is easier to catch subtle mistakes with another set of eyes. So I will move on to page 165. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip down halfway to the page where it starts off here, talking about proofreaders marks. It says figure 7.8 shows standard proofreader marks universally used by writers and editors to know errors and changes. That's actually on page 165. We will get there in a second. But it's important that we learn proofreaders marks. It says it's a good idea to learn this standardized system and use it when proofreading printed material. The marks can be understood by anyone in the event someone else is reviewing or keying the changes. When marking the printout, use a red pen so the notations are easy to spot. However, if another reviewer has already used a red pen, select a different color. So let's turn the page. And this is where our actual assignment is going to begin. So in an effort to get you guys to kind of learn the proofreaders marks and at the same time have the opportunity to write them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this on the left side of my screen, and then I'm going to, on the right side, go into my Google Drive and open up a new Google document. And let's save this document as Chapter 7, Proofreaders Marks. Now, this is something very subtle, but I like to point out to my students. If you notice, the apostrophe is behind the S, not between the R and the S, because that means the word proofreaders is plural, meaning that these marks belong to everyone, not just one singular person. So just something real subtle that people don't realize about that apostrophe. Okay, so let's start off just by typing your name. And then you can add the date here, whatever the date is that you're typing this assignment. On the third line, we'll put the name of the course. And then whatever your period is can go right there. Press enter 3 times after that. I'm going to center, bold, and turn my caps lock on for the title. And we'll just simply call it Proofreaders Marks. And I'm going to turn off my bold, turn off my caps lock, press enter 3 times and change my alignment back to left. From this point, I'm going to insert a table. Now, if you look at this chart here, assume that it is a table without lines, and that'll help you keep everything organized. So first thing you want to do is count out how many columns and rows you need. So it's very easy that we can see we only need 3 columns. And I count that there are 18 proofreader marks, which means we actually need 19 rows because we need a row for our headings. So I'm going to go to insert table, put down a 19, or you can just simply go straight to table and insert table, and also just go down to 19 and then over 3, and that should give you what you need. Let's see, smooth that up. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in my headings, my column headings. Proofreaders Mark, original, revised. Now, once we finish typing this up, and I know it seems a little odd, and the question that I usually get at this point from students is, well, Mr. Williams, how are we going to get the red marks on here? We're not. What we're going to actually do is just type up what we see in black in the columns. Then I'm going to have you guys print this, and then with the red pen, you guys will actually have to make those marks yourselves. Now, in order for us to make this work correctly, you can see that there are actually 3 columns, but we're going to need to insert 1 column to the left. And that's where we're going to actually put the marks in red once you print it. So we're not going to type anything in this first column. All right, so let's start by selecting the column headings, and let's bold and center those. And if you want to be fancy, you can change the background color, make it look a little nicer. All right, so let's start with the first proofreader mark. That's insert space. The original is typed as such, which is the error. So don't worry about that. You type it wrong, and then you see later we're going to put in the red marks under there. The revised is letter to the. So that last column is always going to be the corrected text. All right, so you just keep going. And we're going to type it wrong. The commands, plural, is, but the correct would be the command, singular, is. And then when we print this out, we're going to just put that delete symbol here. Okay, as you can see, I've jumped down a little bit, but I've stopped here because I think that you might need to see how to handle this particular proofreader mark. So the proofreader mark is new paragraph. So if I go to the original, and I can just type in the new product right against the margin. However, when I get to the revise, notice that it's indented. Usually the way that you would handle an indent in a paragraph is by pressing the tab key. But notice pressing the tab key advances us to the next box in the table, or the next cell in the table. If we were in Microsoft Word, you could actually hold down Control and Tab, and it would give you a true tab. But from what I'm finding, there is no way to do this in Google Docs. So I'm going to actually just have you guys just press the space bar 10 times, which ordinarily I would never have students do. But in Google Docs, sometimes it's a little limited. So we do what we got to do. Okay, and that gives you that appearance of an indentation. Okay, as you can see, I've moved down a little bit further. The next item I wanted to kind of discuss briefly is something called stet, which means to do not delete. But if you notice right here, there's a symbol or a line, a dash, a special dash, that's a little bit longer than the one that's next to the 0 on your keyboard. So let me show you how to get to that. If you go up on your toolbar or in your menu and go to Insert, and we have Special Characters symbol here, you can actually change that to something called punctuation. And if you change this, you have what's called dash or connectors. And what we're using is something right here called an M dash. Or you can just hit U plus 2014 and it'll give you the symbol. So I just click that and then I'm going to close that down. And finish typing, do not delete. So you want to use stet anytime that you actually are proofreading something and then you accidentally make a suggestion for something to be changed, then you say, you know what, I don't want to really make that change. So instead of scribbling or crossing out on someone's document and making it more confusing, you just write the word stet. And that'll let the person know, don't make the adjustment or the change. Okay, as you can see, I'm finished, and I actually have an extra row. So I think I told you guys one too many rows. There's 17 proofreaders marks, so you only need 18 rows. To get rid of this last row, you can just right click anywhere in it and just delete rows. Simple as that. Last thing I would want to do before I print this is to maybe maximize my space a little bit better. Because as you can see, I'm going on to a second page and I want to kind of eliminate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink down this first column just by grabbing this line here and dragging it to the left. Because we just need to put marks in here, so we don't really need a lot of space here. I'm going to drag this over to the longest item, which I think is right here, no paragraph run in or stet do not delete. And that allows me to widen these columns, the last two columns. So I'm going to kind of try to balance it out a little bit better. And that should allow me to fit all this on one page. Alright, as you can see in Google Drive, it automatically saves all of our changes. And at this point, you're ready to print this. Oh, let me fix this right here. I don't want Proofreaders Marks to wrap around like that. Okay, so now it's saved. You're ready to print it. Once you print it using the textbook, wherever there are red marks in the book, go ahead and mimic those same red marks on this document. And that is how you do Proofreaders Marks. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you with this document or even the printing.